Und damit hallo und herzlich willkommen zum dritten Livestream heute, weil ich ja immer 2 Stunden Sektionen mache. Der letzte Part war... Oh, ich weiß gar nicht, wie ich das alles zusammenfassen soll. Es ist viel passiert. Und wir müssen uns jetzt nach Lenegis aufmachen. Bin mal gespannt, wie das da mit Ausrüstung und so dann dort alles aussieht. Mal gucken. Bin mal gespannt. Ich muss gerade mal checken, ob der Livestream soweit läuft. Ja, das sieht soweit alles gut aus, dass der richtig läuft. Jawohl. Das ist fein. Nice. Okay. Dann können wir loslegen. Let's go.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that! You're going to jinx us!
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
I like it. Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... Well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay.
Okay,
Klingt
people.
gut.
We have 2 goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dahna alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shionne's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good?
Easy.
All right. Then let's go.
Glaube ich. Lol, was eine Beschleunigung.
You know,
Ja, Fuck.
I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Dahnans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Deine Gruppe hat sich aufgelöst.
Everything okay, Shionne? You seem a little different.
Different? Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It suits you.
So, gib mir eine Sekunde. Ich muss gerade mal den Livestream von eben nämlich auf privat schalten, wegen dem kopiergeschützten Anteil darin. So, sehr gut.
something wrong?
Copyright geschützt, so.
No.
Nicht kopiergeschützt,
I was merely
Copyright
thinking
geschützt.
how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me though, you too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing matters to address. Come back and speak to me when you finish looking around the ship.
Was mich mal auch interessiert, es gibt noch so viele Fragen wie, was ist dieses ganze Jungfernding um Shionne und ich bin ja auch als Lord bezeichnet worden, beziehungsweise Alphen. So, was hat das alles zu bedeuten?
We'll be going to Lenegis soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts to you, huh? What was life on Lenegis like back then? You know, before you came to Dahna.
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life, for as long as I can remember. They called it treatment, but in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean, they experimented on you?
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my thorns or changed the form they took. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised they didn't try to dissect me. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from the pain, like I was a monster or something. Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched. Helplessly complicit in their pain. I thought things couldn't get any worse. But then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming apocalypse. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness was my best friend. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine. I'm in a much better place now.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones dying to save you?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? How is that even right? It's that logic that's used to justify slavery, as if some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our own lives to save everyone else's either. If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along, isn't it?
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Shionne. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in this fight. Now I see it. The true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Dahnan victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull it off?
You bet we can pull it off. We have to. It's the only hope we have of things ever changing.
Yeah, you're right. No one's ever changed the future without aiming for the stars. We can do this. Together.
Alphen ist wirklich ein unverbesserlicher Optimist. Das ist unfassbar. Hikesop. Sorry, ich wollte gerade nicht in die Zwischensequenz dazwischen quasseln. Na, ihr zwei.
Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was scared. I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can. That's all.
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renan technology. It got me to Dahna in one piece, remember?
Oh, that's a good point. If
True.
you think so, Alphen, it must be okay. Don't you agree, Law?
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen. It's just wrong, okay?
Und so. Ja, ich weiß, ich habe viel, das erwachsen ist und so, aber ich kann gerade nicht. Stehst du? Teufel ist das hier? Okay, erfahre ich vielleicht später noch. Oder wahrscheinlich später noch. Irgendeinen Sinn muss es haben, dass es da ist. Oh. Hi, Kisara?
You okay? Feeling airsick?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered. Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside of it.
It's a healing pod. It fixes injuries and illnesses.
Oh, you don't say. Well, that should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while we're down there.
Du.
Alphen? Was it something I said?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. What with the ceremony and losing control, I was a total mess. Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping?
Erinnert
Would that
sich wieder?
mean you were inside for 300 years?
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am glad that it's this century that you finally woke up in.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. And not only that, but... Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia? About the dream of coexistence, and needing to learn what it entailed?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you couldn't at home.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my brother's wishes. I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now, and those still to come. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Dahnans, wherever they might be, to be free. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen.
Das hat aber lange gebraucht.
I'll forever be grateful to you.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the Red Woman.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there, I'm through looking the other way.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
Es war ein langer und verwinkelter Weg, um hierher zu gelangen, aber ich bin froh, dass wir uns letztendlich alle kennengelernt haben. Ja. Kann mal Musik auf meinem Kopfhörer ein bisschen leiser machen, so. Cool, jetzt haben wir mit allen gequasselt. Wollen wir mit denen nochmal quasseln? Ja. Hast du dir immer noch Sorgen? Nein. Wie kommst du denn da drauf? Okay. Wir nehmen unsere Zukunft selbst in die Hand.
Is everyone about ready?
Yes.
We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenegis.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dahna. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dahna even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renan ladder is considered superior to being a Dahnan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shionne?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Lost blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this red woman, are we expecting to find her on Lenegis?
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelegion.
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dahna, we need to take it back at all costs.
That red woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your
fällt
thorns
gerade
out there,
ein.
Shionne, we'll find them.
Ich habe diese ganzen Prüfungen unten auf Lenegis nicht gemacht in diesen Dingens. Da fehlt mir einer der Skill-Dinger und ich weiß nicht, ob ich jemals nochmal zurückkommen kann. Wahrscheinlich nicht. Spielst Batman.
There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shionne's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone.
Die Frage ist auch, warum sie überhaupt zu einem...
Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renans. The capital city where Shionne and Dohalim used to live, no less.
Man kann zurück, sehr
Who
gut.
knows what we'll find on the other side.
Die Frage, die sich jetzt auch stellt, ist, warum haben sie ihn überhaupt zu einem Anführer gemacht? Es ist mir ein völliges Rätsel. Es gibt echt noch viele offene Fragen. What the fuck is going on? The fuck?
What in the world?
This being Renan territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dahna?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dahna participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dahna, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same
Cow.
as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself, okay, Doe?
Okay. What the...
So who's Faria?
Law?
Stimmt, seine
If
Frau
what
oder
Avakir
sowas.
said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dahna.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here that the wedge originally came from.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens, see what we can find out.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman, too.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shionne. We can't have a bunch of Dahnans poking their noses around.
Good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two. The Dahnans among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by
Das Lenegis erledigt, das Wohnviertel zerbricht in 1000 Teile.
saying I'm leading you.
What are we, dogs?
Angesichts der chaotischen Zustände im Wohnviertel gab es unzählige Verletzte. Sachen fallen herunter oder die Leute stürzen.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zugals have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Qaras? I believed he was on Dahna.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Qaras house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Wo bin ich? Ich war nur spazieren, aber jetzt weiß ich nicht, wo ich bin. Ich weiß nicht. Alles fällt auseinander und sieht völlig anders aus. Ich reiche auch meine Mutter und Vater nicht. Ihr müsst euch keine Sorgen machen, Kinder. Ich bin sicher, es gibt eine Erklärung für alles, was vor sich geht. Aber selbst die Zeuge laufen frei rum. All meinen Jahren habe ich noch nie derart mächtige Heilungsartes gesehen. Tiefsten Dank. Rezept für Obstparfait.
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Wo ist dieser verdammte Herrscher, wenn man ihn braucht? Sieht er nicht, dass die Stadt in Schwierigkeiten steckt? Sollten keine vorherigen Schlüsse ziehen. Ich bin sicher, es hat einen Grund. Dass er noch nicht aufgetaucht ist, geben wir ihm Zeit. Okay, laufen wir erstmal da hinten hin. Erdbeere. Will mich irgendjemand hören? Bitte, irgendjemand soll antworten. Was geht hier vor sich? Warum erreiche ich niemanden? Ich habe irgendwie so die Vermutung, als sie das Ding eingesetzt haben, haben sie irgendwas ausgelöst.
Your lordship. Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dahna during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dahna during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time.
Ja, dass sie alle keine Ahnung haben, ist irgendwie... macht Sinn halt, ne? Volk.
What could be so important? It's worth destroying people's livelihoods and homes in the process. It's just... unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building blocks. Someone's got an awful lot of questions to answer.
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy from Dahna, and then sending it to Rena.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient. Not while we still don't know what their endgame is.
He's right. We need to stop this from happening ever again.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get moving!
You heard him. You don't have time to stop and chat. Let's move.
Zeuge haben plötzlich nicht mehr auf unsere Befehle gehört. Sobald wir uns umdrehten, sind sie gen Horizont davongestimmt. So etwas ist noch nie vorgekommen. Wir müssen den Kampf um die Krone unterbrechen. Wir können ihn unter diesen Umständen nicht fortführen.
Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Qaras! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dahna competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dahna? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shionne, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Dahnan.
Ja.
300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dahna, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction.
True.
Let's go find it.
Ja. Wie Sie schon gesagt haben, Fragen über Fragen. Die ich mir vorhin auch schon gestellt habe. Zum Teil.
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dahna.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Ganabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Dahnans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dahna, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Okay. Schauen wir mal. Ihr wollt wissen, welchen Leute ich unterstütze? Wieso? Werbt ihr um Unterstützung für jemanden? Die auf Seiten seiner Exzellenz Erwolsi Telis. Ihr kennt ihn vermutlich besser als Lord Balsef. Ich weiß, dass ihn viele für einen Haudegen halten. Glaubt mir, ich weiß, dass er ein aggressiver Mann sein kann. Diesen Leuten ist jedoch nicht klar, wie sehr er sich um die Mitglieder seines alten Hauses kümmert. Es ist durchaus so, Haus Teldilis ein wenig Ansehen genießt. Die von uns, die ihm dienen, geben das bereitwillig zu. Aber seine Exzellenz verteidigt uns gegen jeden, der uns schaden will, das ist gewiss. Seine Bemühungen im Kampf um die Krone dienen nicht nur seiner Familie, er will damit den Stand jedes Mitgliedes seines Hauses verbessern. Ich verdanke seiner Exzellenz so viel. Ich würde es nie erträumen, einem anderen Lord zu dienen.
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Dahnan city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Yes.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alphen and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
Oh, noch eins. Lol.
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegis was built, it was even made with people living here in mind?
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to transform like this. But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration, to avoid all this chaos.
Ordinarily, yes. You'd think so. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home, nothing more. No one knew about all this. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so, to what exactly?
Sorry. That probably sounded weird, huh?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to help you notice what you've been missing all along. This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find answers where we're going, though.
Yeah, you're right, Shionne. I'm sure we will.
Okay, nächste Person. Super viel Story gerade. Lord Dohalim, ihr seid zurückgekehrt. Ah, und wie ich sehe, brachtet ihr Gehilfen mit. Erinnert ihr euch an meine Wenigkeit, mein Lord? Gewiss doch, ja? Ich unterstütze nicht nur das Haus Qaras, sondern auch seine Lordschaft persönlich. So sehr, dass ich meine Wertschätzung seiner Lordschaft mit jedem zu teilen ersuche, der mir Gehör schenkt. Wenn es sich ergibt, plane ich meine ausführlichen Schriften zu diesem Thema durch eben dies Terminal zu publizieren, auf das sie jeder lese. Doch seit die Kabel nach der jüngsten Aufruhr durchtrennt wurden, konnte ich sie noch nicht hochladen. Ich weiß, da ihr mich gerade persönlich beehrt, lese ich sie euch einfach vor. Es gibt einen famosen Mann, dessen Attraktivität nur von der Schönheit seiner Worte übertroffen wird. Jede Silbe ein Gedicht. Er entstammt dem rühmlichen Hause Qaras und trägt den Namen Lord Dohalim. Musik ist seine Passion, die Künste seine große Liebe. Der geheime, barbarische Pöbel seines Landes erblasset angesichts seiner Herrlichkeit. So vollendet und majestätisch ist eine Haltung, der bloße Gedanke daran versetzt mich in höchste Ekstase. Okay. Sobald er unser Herrscher wird, soll für Rena eine neue Blütezeit anbrechen, eine Ära des Wohlstandes für unsere große Zivilisation. Bis dieser glorreiche Tag kommt, werde ich auf ewig für seinen Sieg beten, ob morgen, Mittag oder Abend. Nun, was denkt ihr, mein Lord? Ich schütte mein ganzes Herz aus, um euer Wesen angemessen wiederzugeben. Moment, ich vergaß völlig die Vorliebe seiner Lordschaft für das Sammeln kostbarer Artefakte zu erwähnen. Ich muss die Zeit nutzen, in der die Verbindung getrennt ist, und mein Versäumnis beheben. Nur dann ist mein Meisterwerk vollendet.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Er versetzt sie in Ekstase. Praising. Unerhört, dass jemand versuchen würde, mich vom Haus Valkyries abzubringen.
What?
Was wollt ihr? Sagt mir nicht, dass ihr für Lord Dohalim arbeitet oder diese schreckliche Almedrea, oder? Nicht? Na, jagt mir nicht so einen Schrecken ein. Um eure Frage zu beantworten, meine Familie unterstützt seit Generationen Haus Valkyries. In der Tat, ich tue, was ich kann, um Lord Gannabelt hinter den Kulissen zu unterstützen, damit er siegreich hervorgeht. Viele halten ihn für einen grausamen Mensch, aber ich bin überzeugt, dass sie sich irren. Ich leugne nicht, dass er streng sein kann, aber er stellt Renas Interessen vorn an wie kein anderer. Ja, er wirbt sogar dafür, dass wir Dahna kolonialisieren und unseren Horizont erweitern sollten, statt in Lenegis zu bleiben. So werden wir Herren beider Welten und sind auf Dahnas Oberfläche keine Minderheit mehr. Deshalb möchte er die der nächste Herrscher werden. Sagt mir, könnte es höhere, edlere Motive geben als das? Ich meine nicht. Es ist ein Streben nach Macht für den Fortschritt aller Renäer. Das macht ihn zu einem so beispielhaften Lord, einem Vorbild für alle. Obwohl ich ihn selbst nicht begleiten durfte, hatten meine beiden Söhne das Privileg, mit ihm auf die Oberfläche zu kommen. Als Vater erfüllt es mich mit endlosem Stolz.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Dahnans?
Gute Frage, nächste Frage.
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Pardon me.
Dieses Gebiet unterliegt der alleinigen Jurisdiktion von Haus Kaineris. Ich muss euch auffordern, sofort zu gehen. Gewiss, ihr wollt nicht vorgeben, nichts ahnend über unser berühmtes Haus zu sein, beherrscht vom geschätzten Lord Almedria. Als doch rufe ich euch an, gut zuzuhören. Nun ihr solltet so oder so gut zuhören. Ist euch je aufgefallen, dass in der Geschichte von Lenegis nur wenige Frauen den Titel des Lords erlangten, um im Kampf um die Krone anzutreten? Es gibt zahlreiche Theorien zu den Ursachen, aber Lord Almedria räumte alle Zweifel der Neinsage durch schiere Macht aus. Sie stürzte nicht nur ihren Vater und vorherige Familienanführer, sondern entfernte auch ihre älteren Brüder, um den Thron selbst zu besteigen. Sie ist eine Frau, die vor nichts Halt macht, um zu erlangen, was sie möchte. Das ist gut. Eine Frau, die ihren Feinden keine Gelegenheit zum Angriff bietet. Laut Almedria ist wahrscheinlich eine talentierte Frau. Niemand sonst verkörpert die Tugend unserer Meritokratie besser als sie. Bald schon wird das Zeitalter einer glorreichen Herrscherin über ganz Lenegis anbrechen.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Geradezu abscheulich. Ach, ich habe gerade nur etwas über Volran gelesen. Kann ich euch helfen?
Okay.
War immer ein überzeugter Unterstützer von Lord Urvagil Hildris. Wäre er nicht so plötzlich auf der Oberfläche gestorben, wohl noch immer. In meinen Augen ist Lord Urvagil der wahre Wasserlord. Ich glaube keine Sekunde daran, dass er bei einem Unfall starb, wie es heißt. Und was Volrans Herrschaft über Ganopharos angeht, ich mag gar nicht daran denken. Er versklavt nicht nur Dahna, sondern auch Renäer. Wir mögen in einer Gesellschaft leben, in der der Sieger alles bekommt, aber seine Handlungen verstoßen gegen Grundgebote unseres Volkes. Und außerdem, was für eine Erblinie soll dieses Haus Igniseri überhaupt sein? Bis er auftauchte, hatte ich noch nie davon gehört. Kann nur bedeuten, dass er zum niedersten Pöbel der Gesellschaft zählt. Dass eine derart gemeine Familie plötzlich einen Astralpraktiker hervorbringt, der zum Lord aufsteigt, ist völlig unerhört. Nichts davon ergibt Sinn, ganz zu schweigen vom Aufruhr, der hier zuletzt herrschte. Was wird nun aus unserem Volk?
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volran either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary, remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Dahnan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shionne and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
Gut gesagt. Aber da hinten hat mir das... da darf ich nicht lang. Ja, okay, hier ist nix. Gut. Baumgelee.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfrikt Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfrikt whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dahna already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still... Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Dahnan rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else.
Bestimmt die Frau von dem Typen, den er umgebracht hat. Oder angeblich umgebracht hat. Oh.
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Er hat aber nicht Unrecht. Bin ich den Weg eben lang gegangen? Ja, nein, ja, nicht selbst. Der Computer hat mich lang gegangen. Okay. Gut. Hier gibt es als überall Orangengelee und so. Das deutet alles darauf hin, dass am Ende des Weges ein Kampf lauert. Glaube ich zumindest. Hier stimmt bei NPCs rum, die ich nicht ansprechen kann. Ich darf die ganze Zeit hier irgendwelche Truhen und so zu finden oder irgendwelches Zeug, das ich tatsächlich gebrauchen kann.
I wonder if we can use this.
Ich hätte vielleicht auch mehr von den NPCs ansprechen sollen, nicht wegen dem, was sie sagen, sondern mehr, ob ich irgendwas kriege wie für Heilung oder so, was ich da manchmal mache.
place is beautiful!
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dahna, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagin. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnagin. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnagin and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagin and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagin had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagin was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less, she would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty, instead I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Dahnans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Das macht's aber nicht
Shionne's
besser.
right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shionne. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
Okay, jetzt schauen wir mal, ob hier
I
irgendwas
see a
ist.
medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Klingt gut.
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
Also, schon voll. Okay. Da wird ja jetzt auch nichts getan haben. Oh, doch. Okay, da fehlen mir Titanzahn und dunkler Mähne. Schade. Warte, ich hab gleich kein Geld mehr. Da, Fuck. Was? Nein. Doch, verkaufen. Okay. Waffenschmieden. Ich weiß halt nicht, ob ich jetzt diese ganzen alten Waffen... Ja, mal gucken. Moment, was bräuchte ich noch für die größeren Waffen? Hier nix. Hier auch nix. Und... Ja, auch nix. Ja, das heißt, ich kann die ganzen alten Waffen verkaufen. Quest müssen wir vielleicht die eine oder andere wieder herstellen, aber wenn ich gerade auf mein Konto gucke, dürfte das weniger ein Problem werden. Objekte kaufen. Verkaufen. Cool. Ja gut, da dürfte sich jetzt nicht so viel getan haben. Naja. Theoretisch müssten wir eigentlich die kleinen Dinge in irgendeiner Form farmen können, um das dann einzeln in die großen einsetzen zu können. Glaube ich.
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
Nee. Wüsste nicht für was. Wir jetzt erstmal kochen sollten. Ich habe gerade Stunde irgendwas Story gesehen. Gut. Weiter geht's.
Damn it. Lenegis soldiers.
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Hold! I am Lord Dohalim of Elden Menencia. I command you.
The rest of the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they've got one.
In a bind?
I can handle it. Magna Ray!
Its armor's too strong.
Split it open!
Be my guest.
More projectile!
Not today.
I'll face you.
Welches Level hatten die? Pan 40, ne?
I'll face you.
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished. My turn.
Demon Land! By the power of the
I'm not done. Mow him down. Rotating pile driver. Be still.
Action! Here!
Sword Blade Alpha.
Our arts are being interrupted.
This one's all mine. I'm not done. Eagle Ray. Ignite. Fire in the hole. Double Demon Fang.
It's over! Astral energy! Full throttle!
Bumm.
By the power of the force! Thunder field!
Sword Blade Alpha.
Dance in the wind!
Double Demon Fang.
Do it!
No escape.
Go for it!
Bum, bum, bum.
Prepare to crumble.
Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've come across so far.
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for sure. They just attacked without warning.
They weren't in the least bit fazed by Dohalim's presence either.
Indeed. They seem to recognize us as enemies, nothing more. And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not much else.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Haros. The ones in blind devotion to Volron.
I've never seen anything like that here on Lenegis before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries. At least we'll know to keep our wits about us.
Oh. Hi.
No choice.
Pierce evil! Waterfall!
Here I come!
It's in the sky, it's mine! These ones can rip rings around us!
Here I come!
Holy land! Here's a
Sword
healing
Blade
chain
Alpha!
between heaven and earth! A wailing beast will pull myself together! Sealed!
It's over!
Alter.
I'll be saved by resurrection!
Damn it!
Lunar
Too
blast!
fast!
I'm all stuffed
Stand
up!
back.
Confiscated.
I'll trip it up.
Annihilation!
all mine.
Radiant punch! Pierce!
I'm ready!
It's over! Astral energy! Full throttle!
No! Eat dirt! Here! Take this! Sword Rain Alpha! Coming through!
Let's go!
Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Oh, violent Radiant win. Now! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Fühlt sich gerade ein bisschen wie das Tutorial-Gebiet am Anfang an.
I'm ready for the next battle.
The fuck?
Let's see what you've got.
Here I come! Now or never. Now you see what I can do!
In a bind?
Time to cross blades! Come up!
Irgendeine, nein. Was bist du? Dunkel?
I'm sorry to trouble you.
Leave the charges to me!
Captivity!
That'll bring you down!
It's on! Here I come! Sword Rain Alpha! This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for! Get behind me!
Got it! I'll leave it to you! Megasonic Thrust!
Water!
Burn it out! Take this! Megasonic Thrust! Demon Fang!
More for the stockpile.
Demon can't get out of this!
You're finished! Hold up!
Habe ich das Spiel nicht angewiesen, die beiden hier auszutauschen, oder bin ich jetzt völlig bescheuert?
I'll smash you!
Take this! Sword Rain Alpha! On guard! Here I come! Double Demon Fang!
Did you see this coming? Water!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Ready to go!
Ha! Not today! Sword Rain Alpha! You're mine!
There's a shock! You're mine!
Double Demon Fang!
You require a hand.
Denied!
Sword Rain Alpha!
That'll bring you down!
Strike!
Glacial Fire!
Take this!
Tiger
Between
Blade!
heaven and
Save you! Lion
Take this!
Tail!
Double Demon Fang!
Piercing roar!
Try harder! This one's all mine!
Lion Savior!
Burn in hell!
Dance in the wind!
Demon Fang!
I'm all
Sword Rain Alpha! Double Demon
Oh,
Fang!
und stirb einfach.
sealed!
I'm not done!
Now!
Kisara! Commander of Heavens!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Get wrecked.
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
Out of our way!
Locked and loaded! Engaging! Here I come!
Here comes! Flash your dreams! I can't let the hatred consume me!
Bring them down!
Illuminate the sun!
Armor won't save you!
Dance in the wind!
You're mine!
Air thrust!
No dawn shall break. Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah! And the pummeling to me!
Dohalim! In an instant! Impact cross!
Here I go!
This one's all mine!
Wo ist das Mistvieh? Da ist es.
I never miss!
Burn in hell! Double Demon Fang! Sword Rain Alpha! Out of the way!
Du Mistvieh.
That's my cue!
Shut him down!
Arch sealed!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Kisara! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
Benediction light.
Dance in the wind!
Heal!
In
Thanks!
here! Healing circle!
Sword Rain Alpha! I owe you one! Here!
Now you see what I can do!
Slice and heal this over!
Now!
Puh.
This should make for some...
Oh, ich hätte erst gerade ausgehen müssen.
good weapon crafting material.
Ich hätte auf die Karte gucken müssen. Shit, jetzt habe ich auch einen Boost gerade, das habe ich auch nicht geschnallt. Toll. Egal. Können wir schon. Guten Tag.
Out of our way!
You got
Verdammt.
How long are we gonna keep this up for exactly?
No further! Ready and raring! I'm not done!
In the wind!
No time! I'm not done!
Alter, wieso gehen die alle auf mich drauf? Was ist das denn?
Resonate with the earth!
This one's mine!
On your knees! No escape!
Soaring Alpha! Annihilation! By the power of flame! A whirling struggle! Without a trace! Winds of heaven! Burst forth!
I'm not done! Demon Fang!
Do it! Here, let me help! Now! First aid!
In an instant! Impact Rock!
Nice.
I need to be stronger. Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight.
Retreat if you know what's good for you! Can't get out of this!
Raging storm! General Aqua!
Burn!
Annihilation!
As if the normal creepy crawlies aren't disgusting enough.
Elusive deity!
Into the center!
Pierce!
Radiant
Then
Fire!
it isn't like-
Gale Force! Far enough!
Heal!
Verdammt, ich habe wieder zu früh gedrückt.
I'll face you! Here I come! You're mine!
Illuminate the storm!
Demon Fang!
Glacial
Coming through!
Das war richtig knapp gerade.
Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Where are you going?
Down on the ground! Sword Rain Alpha! Charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop it.
I owe you one. Sword Rain Alpha! Try this!
Evil!
Rending Cloud! Sword Rain Alpha! You're mine! Demon Fang! Evil Demon Fang!
Damn it!
Strike!
Out of ammo!
It's over!
Du Mistvieh.
More where that came from! I'm all stocked up!
Demon Fang!
Light acid!
You!
Nothing less by me!
It's in your hands now.
Oh.
Stay away from my friends!
I'll bring you back from death's abyss!
You're mine! You're finished!
Resuscitation! A chain between heaven and earth! Here, let me help!
Megasonic
A
Thrust!
whirling beauty of lightning!
Megasonic
Here
Thrust!
goes! Far enough! Demon
It's
Land!
on!
Zu spät gedrückt.
Strike! Ignite! Megasonic Thrust! Sword Rain Alpha! Double Demon Fang!
Need to pull myself together!
You're mine!
A whirling struggle!
I'm not done! Try and not resonate with the earth!
That'll bring you down!
Sword Rain Alpha! Rending you apart!
Without a trace!
Bloody howling! No escape! On your knees! Pierce!
Now you see what I can do!
Whirling struggle!
In a bind?
Winds of heaven! First blood in your dreams!
This one's all mine! I'm ready! In an instant! Impact Cross!
Puh.
Quite necessary when creating weaponry.
I won't forgive you!
Megasonic Thrust! Burn in hell! Take you! Sword Rain Alpha! I won't show you any mercy!
Alter.
No escape! Being interrupted!
Nothing gets by me!
Lightning Thrust!
Denied!
damn it, baby!
My turn! No escape! Down on the ground! Sword Rain Alpha! Strike! It's
Ignite!
A wailing dancing lantern!
Megasonic
Here's a healer! Support!
Sword
and red!
Ring
Now!
Alpha! Kisara! Commander of Heavens!
Boom.
Small. But a victory nonetheless.
We have a long way yet to go.
Rüstung? Ach nee, aber Zeug.
Gotta break through! Megasonic thrust!
Can't get out of this!
Gemini Aqua! I never miss!
Alter.
Megasonic thrust!
Will this help?
Here! Penumbra! Megasonic thrust!
I'm grateful.
Megasonic thrust!
Pieces! Attack time!
Water!
Here!
Annihilation!
Megasonic thrust! Here! Hit down!
Rending you
Sword Ring Alpha!
Fuck, Schrecker wird weg.
Ignite!
Hydration ore! Raging cascade!
Here I come!
Confiscated!
We're not done! Sword Ring Alpha! I could do without this pain.
Oh.
No further!
Forgive me. This is my fault.
Armor won't save you!
Dance in the wind! Air blaster!
Hau ihn!
Thank you!
In here!
I'll grind
I'll
you
be
in the
saving
dust!
this one!
I owe you
Magic
a
is
scream.
there! Holy land! Now
Rending you a bloody...
Megasonic thrust!
Will this help?
Here I come! Be still! No escape! Start up!
Fuck.
Ready to go! I can't heal you forever!
You're mine!
Thanks so much!
Sword Ring Alpha!
Now!
Dohalim! In an instant! Impact Cross!
We can really make weapons with this?
Oh. Gott, ey. Der Fight eben hat mich richtig viel Ressourcen gekostet. Wo ist es denn? Da. So, da waren wir überall. Okay. Oh Mann.
Just courteous on.
Try harder!
Here I go!
In a bind?
Here it goes! Where are you going?
That may prove a thorn in our side.
I see one, eh?
I can carve through armor!
My turn! It's on! You're mine!
Burning strike!
Burn it out!
Glacial spear!
Sword Ring Alpha! Pierce!
What?
Megasonic thrust!
Lunar corruption!
I'm ready!
Kisara! I'll stop your movement!
And I'll stop your life!
Illuminate the dark! Come forth! Lunar corruption! Only live! Not in your dreams! By the power of water!
You're mine!
Gemini Aqua!
Sword Ring Alpha! Severing Wind! Take this! Strike! Soaring Wind!
Illuminate
No
the
further!
Come forth!
Here I come! Down! Sword Ring
Oh, wie soll ich denn ausweichen?
Being interrupted.
Holy shit.
I'm ready! More for the stockpile!
Severing Wind!
Reload! Fire support! Watch and mission! With the mark! Do it! Go for it! Prepare to crumble! Here I go!
Now! Take
No,
this!
take this!
This one's mine! Hey,
Eagle Ray! Here I come!
In a bind?
It's over! This one's all mine! Burn in hell!
Glacial
Sword Ring Alpha! Double Demon Flash! Kill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
My exploits are bearing fruit.
Kohle, Kohle, Kohle. Nice.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Okay, die beiden scheinen zu wissen, was zu tun ist. Muss es wahrscheinlich nur anfassen oder so.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Was zur Hölle?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Dahnan. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for. Let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dahna. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
Es war also seine Idee, dass er zurückkehrt.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alphen was speaking to. She looked exactly like Shionne.
It was Naori. Naori Imaris. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
She really does look like Shionne. I'm beginning to see why Alphen was so confused.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly? It was too real to be a mere hallucination.
It was a conversation we had 300 years ago. The night before the ceremony.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an episode straight out of your past?
But how is that even possible? Unless... Could this be the Red Woman's handiwork too?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Dahnan astral energy rushing over us.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was the same sensation as back inside the wedge.
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dahna's astral energy were being siphoned and sent up here to Lenegis. For all we know, perhaps we're close to the spot where all that energy was stored.
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible for that vision we just saw? But how? And why?
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not even as deliberate as all that.
Shionne, you okay?
Yeah, it was all just a little sudden. That's all. So that was my ancestor, huh? It was like looking into a mirror.
Yeah, there certainly is a resemblance.
What about you? How are you holding up?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, it's likely we'll see more of those. Reliving painful episodes from your past. Do you think you can handle it?
I can't just pretend like the past never happened. Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was, it might also lead to answers about your thorns.
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole time, we've been fighting to free Dahna from the Renans. But now that we're here, it seems those same Renans might have it just as bad. I'd like to liberate them too if I can. Which is just another reason I can't afford to shield my eyes from the truth.
Whether you're on Dahna or somewhere else, you always stay the same. Your indignation and righteous passion, your desire to free and protect, they're all hardwired into you. Not that I'm complaining. Come on, let's bust this thing wide open.
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's
Gut.
no telling what could happen in here.
Ein Bosskampf vielleicht. Okay. Na dann. Ist nicht dein Ernst.
Faria, how did you get in here?
Wait, something about her isn't right.
What's wrong with her? She doesn't even seem to know where she is.
Yeah, you're right. She looks just like the soldiers we encountered outside.
Okay. What the fuck is this?
A summoning?
But that's preposterous. She never had that kind of power when—
We can talk later. Here it comes!
What? I've—
Mm-hmm.
never known.
Ich bin mir gerade nicht sicher, ob ich sie oder ihn drin lassen soll. Oh, probieren wir es mal aus.
How about with a stone that looks suspiciously like a
Falsche
master
Taste.
core?
Where did she get her hands on that?
First we handled the Dougal. Then we get some answers.
Go for the weak point! Not on my watch!
Okay, das. Schwäche, aber was? Licht wahrscheinlich.
I couldn't make it in time. Can't get out of this!
No escape!
Explosion!
From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with love. On your knees.
I've still got the soaring
Spear! No escape!
Come
Not
forward!
today!
Here I come!
Holy land!
Benedict.
Chain between heaven and earth! Explosion! A wailing
Sword
of
Alpha!
lightning!
Double demon fang!
Pierce here!
Where are you going?
I'll be taking this one! By the power of bliss!
Try harder!
I don't heal you all in an earth! A wailing dancing of light! Circle!
I'm not done!
By the power of flame!
Here I come!
More for the stockpile! Oh, sparkling stars!
You're mine!
Rain
Fire!
down and purify all!
I'm not done!
Explosion!
Soaring lightning!
Burning
Struck!
Blood!
I'll
Coming
stop its
through.
charge.
Thanks, Kisara!
Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Raging storm!
Eat dirt!
Reload!
Oh,
Don't
You're
die.
mine!
far enough.
Struck!
Ice prism!
You're finished!
In a bind?
Healing
Glacial
circle!
fire.
Now you see what I can do!
Tiger blade.
Struck!
Need to pull myself together. Thanks so much!
Going in.
Aqua!
Struck!
Not in
let me
your
help.
dreams!
Glacial
Here I come.
fire.
First
I
aid!
owe you one.
Lightning orb!
Sword Rain Alpha! Double demon fang!
Tiger blade!
Water.
Here
More
I
I
call!
call.
You're mine!
Hurricane strike.
Soaring light
It's
spear!
weakened.
Raging storm!
This ends now!
Na, danke.
Air thrust!
Punky lap.
Photon
Take this!
blast!
Primed and ready.
Take this!
That'll bring you down.
Lightning
I can
condemned!
carve through armor! In a bind?
Now!
Shionne!
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
Here I go.
You're mine!
Hätte auf Rinwell drücken sollen.
Come forth!
Alpha!
Holy land! A chain
Demon
between heaven and earth!
Going in.
A wailing banshee of lightning! It's about to strike!
Take this! Look sharp, everyone!
Hear me! Flame of fury!
Going.
Strike!
Glacial spear.
Here's evil! Raging
So spät.
cascade! Freeze
Here I
laser! I'll heal you all!
Oh.
Sleep now! More for the healing circle!
Appreciate flame inside me, yours to be let free!
You require a hand.
Burn!
Lightning strike.
We got
Sword Rain
you!
Alpha!
Raging
Can't get out of this!
Blood! Hear me! A whirling struggle!
Double demon fang!
Winds of heaven! First form!
Strike.
First aid!
Thanks! Here I come! Struck!
Hurricane
Ruin!
strike.
There!
Lightning strike.
Confiscated! I'm all Raging storm!
Oh,
By the power of water.
Let the marksman handle
Soaring light spear!
Now we're not...
healing art! First aid! Thanks so much!
I never miss. Nothing gets by me.
One more!
In a bind?
I don't feel so hot.
You should sit this one out then.
I miss all the sun. No way.
Burn!
Let me out.
You're mine!
Light astrolite! Purge!
Dohalim!
I'm you all!
I'm not done!
Freeze hurricane! Healing circle! Raging
I owe you one.
Lunar correction! Purge malevolence! Arctic waterfall! Freeze laser!
You're mine!
I'm almost in
Our praise comes from you.
I said almost. Don't get carried away.
oh fuck.
Take this! I can carve through armor!
You made me angry.
Oh,
Bad idea.
Mami ist sauer.
Come on.
Healing circle! Not in your dreams!
I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
Lightning
Tiger
orb!
blade.
Dance in the wind!
Inferno
Air
blade.
thrust!
A whirling circle.
Here I come!
Winds of heaven! First
This
force!
one's
I'm not
mine.
done!
Gemini Aqua! Cyclone!
Here it comes.
Focus! On your toes, everyone!
Escape!
Annihilation!
Double demon
Hands
fang!
here. Let me help.
Oh,
You're mine!
Primed and ready.
You're out!
Ich bin ja schon wieder tot.
You go. I let my guard down.
Air thrust!
A whirling bring you
Take
back from
this.
death's abyss again.
Winds of
I'll
heaven!
bring you back
First
from death's
force.
abyss.
Sleep now!
I'll bring you
I'll
back
be
from
saving
death's
this
abyss.
one!
I'll smash you!
Resuscitation!
No further!
Light Here's the healing art!
Not done yet!
Let me help.
First, eliminate the storm!
You're mine!
Come forth!
Glacial
Holy
spear.
Holy evil! A chain between
Megasonic
heaven and earth!
thrust!
Freeze laser! A wailing beauty
Au.
healing thing!
Ich darf nicht so unvorsichtig werden.
Appreciate the help.
Not in your dreams!
Hurricane strike.
Now, while it's reeling!
Take it down!
Double demon fang!
Here's the healing art! Magic is there!
Nothing.
Holy land!
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone.
Get dragged!
now it's just her! Faria, can you hear me? Faria!
She's preparing another summoning!
The art she's casting is way too powerful to control. At this rate, her body won't be able to take much more. Dohalim!
Forgive me.
Okay.
Man, I thought we were goners.
Everything okay?
Yes. She's only unconscious.
Not her. I meant you.
Shionne, please. Can you treat her?
I can try, but I can't promise she'll be back to her real self when she wakes up. All I can do is heal her physically.
We're not even supposed to be in here. Maybe it'd be better if we moved her to somewhere a little safer. Don't you think?
In that case...
I'll take her off your hands.
You? Avakir, what are you doing here?
I was curious what you were up to, so I took the liberty of following you to find out. I overheard what you said about Tarnagan, about how he really died. I'm sorry, I had no idea.
And you believed me? What makes you so sure I wasn't lying?
I like to think I know you a little better than that, Dohalim. Give me some credit. I'll take Faria. Leave her with me. I know better than to ask what you're up to. But whatever it is, I hope it all works out.
Thank you.
He seems like a good friend.
He hasn't changed. He never was one to stand out. Instead, he was always hanging back, worrying about everyone else. As for Faria, it's always the closest to me who get hurt.
You don't seriously blame yourself for what happened to her, do you?
Somebody got to her, to strike back at me. Someone who knew me well enough to know that I'd hesitate to fight back. And the same goes for you as well. Neither you nor Faria would have lost loved ones, if it wasn't for me.
You're wrong. Kelzelik was the one who killed my brother, under orders from Almadria. As for Tarnagan, if it weren't for the crown contest, he'd still be alive. That and the whole damn hierarchy that makes it possible. But that's why we're fighting. To put an end to this whole messed up system that treats people as expendable.
Indeed. Ridding society of this blight is really the only way I know how to atone for my sins.
You can't atone, Dohalim. I know it hurts to hear, but those people are dead. No amount of soul-searching or trying to make amends is going to change that. Forgiveness, acceptance, those ships have sailed.
So I just forget the harm I caused?
No, the opposite, in fact. You remember. You never forget. You keep it in your heart always. And then you go on living. Not for those already passed, but for those still alive.
For those still alive.
Kisara's right. So long as we've still got breath in our bodies, we can make a difference in the lives of others. Lives being the operative word.
That's what living's all about. Being able to still make a difference. Punishing yourself for the past won't make the pain of your conscience go away.
Only fixing the problem in its stead. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. You have to live for tomorrow, Dohalim, not for yesterday. And not only that, you need to live for yourself, and for the change that you still can be.
I shall try.
Don't forget, we've still got a mystery to solve. The Forbidden Zone, remember?
Shionne.
Huh?
Thank you. You have my deepest gratitude for what you did for Faria.
Glad to be of service.
I'm glad we could stop Faria without hurting her.
You all did much for her as well. I'm most grateful.
Oh, shucks. We're on the same team, right? Let's move on.
Sollte mal speichern.
What is it, Rinwell? Do you hear something again?
Yeah,
What?
It's that voice.
The will of Dahna's astral energy.
Ich glaube, das hatten wir schon mal gesehen in einem kurzen Ausschnitt, oder?
What? There's so much astral energy. But where's it all coming from? It's almost like it's alive.
Ich was. Irgendwie habe ich es mir gedacht.
That was the spirit channeling ceremony just now. No, it was more than that.
What the hell was that? It felt like everything was on the brink of... like the whole world was seconds from...
Oblivion. It's the same vision as the one my thorns show me. A vision of impenetrable darkness that swallows up us and everything else.
An empty void. A nothing so complete and dominating that there aren't even words to describe it. The end of time.
The visions of the apocalypse you've been seeing. If I'd known how bad they were,
So, everything we just saw, those were Naori's memories, right?
That's right. It was as if her innermost thoughts were speaking directly to us. At least I know they weren't mine.
That power flowing into her. It reminds me of Shionne's thorns. If they're what's responsible for all these visions she's been having, then maybe...
Maybe my thorns are made from that same astral energy?
If that is the case, we just found the missing link between your thorns and what happened here 3 centuries ago. No, more than a link. Perhaps even the very heart of the matter.
I've never felt astral energy so powerful. What was that?
If it's the same energy your thorns are made of, it must be dark astral energy, right? And isn't that something only Renans have?
Correct. Dark astral energy is possessed by Renans alone.
And when enough astral energy gathers together, it develops its own form of sentience. If so, maybe that complete oblivion is exactly what the Renan astral energy's will is wishing for. But why?
I don't know. Will can be a pretty vague thing to nail down. It's more of a feeling, just like the will of Dahna.
But the will of Dahna is made up of astral energy too, right? And if that's what's been showing us these visions... I don't know, should we really be getting so involved with this thing?
Dahna's will would never want oblivion.
But you can't say that for sure.
Cut it out, you two. Squabbling over theories will get us nowhere.
Let's keep moving. If it's Dahna's will showing us these memories, then I'm as clueless about its motives as any one of us. But if it could lead us to the truth, then I want to find out more.
Shionne's right. All we can do is keep going. If these really are Naori's memories we're watching, there could be truths in them I was never aware of. And I think they may be the kinds of truths I need to confront if we're going to keep fighting.
I'm sorry about what I said earlier. Come on, let's go.
Finally, we begin to understand what the thorns are.
Yes, and their source. A ceremony that occurred 3 centuries ago.
But we still don't know how to get rid of them. I just hope we can find a way.
Do you think Faria was really being controlled by someone?
Certainly seemed that way. The question is, who? The Red Woman?
The same person who's behind all of this, I'll bet. Whoever that is.
Brainwashed or otherwise, the feelings of resentment she holds towards me are real.
Someone used her because they knew we'd hold back. If that's not playing dirty, I don't know what is.
It does tell us one thing at least. Someone here in Lenegis is watching us. Someone who means us harm.
There's no question. That attack was meant for us alone.
By someone capable of getting inside a person and manipulating them like a weapon. We need to find whoever it is, fast.
That vision we saw. It was as if it was meant specifically for us.
What do you make of it? Do you still think the will of Dahna might be involved somehow?
Maybe it's trying to tell us something. But what?
Well, it could be supernatural. You know, like seeing dead people, messages from beyond the grave, ghost-type stuff.
That's your grand theory? That we're being haunted? Come on, Law.
Wait. He might be closer to the mark than you think. What if a person's thoughts and deeds were to somehow become indelibly etched into the ether of a place? And what if those with a connection could then somehow pick up on them?
You think that's what it was? Some kind of message someone left here for us?
I am merely entertaining the possibility. Whether it was Dahna's will, or somehow connected to the Sovereign and Maiden's powers, I do not know.
Okay, back up a sec. You're saying that if a place is full of enough astral energy, it can somehow show us events that happened centuries ago?
More to the point, how does that much astral energy gather in one place anyway? Seems unlikely it happened naturally.
Whatever it was, it survived here intact for 300 years. Whoever left it for us, the strength of their intent is beyond doubt.
The strength of their intent.
Okay, erstmal eine Runde speichern. Machen wir hier. Langsames automatisches Gehen. Mit guter Aussicht, gefällt mir.
Soon, we might very well learn the truth behind Shionne's thorns, as well as my own past. I have to be ready to face anything. Whatever happens.
Problem ist, ich weiß nicht, ob...
I just need a little time.
Ja. Ich will noch nicht durchgehen. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich mich nochmal irgendwo erholen kann. Aber auf der anderen Seite müsste ich mich halt auch wieder durchkämpfen. Gab es da zwischendurch Schnellreisepunkte? Wieso sind die Dinger wieder da? Die habe ich doch... Oh, die sind wieder da, weil ich wahrscheinlich so weit weg war. Okay, ich habe ja gespeichert, also insofern kann mir nicht viel passieren.
Soon, I have to be ready to face anything. But whatever happens, I'm determined to save Shionne and Dahna. Nothing I learn can change that.
Okay, es fragt mich, ob ich ready bin und dann muss ich trotzdem selbst durchgehen.
Hold up, you guys.
What is it?
I want to look through that room over there. I'm curious what we'll find.
That's the room you visited in your past, right? Sure. We can check it out. This looks like some kind of research facility.
A laboratory secreted away in the Forbidden Zone. Why am I past being surprised at this point?
Looks pretty deserted.
Let's check it out. It might give us a new lead.
Mich wundert es, dass auch niemand hier ist. Vielleicht weil der Contest gerade nicht läuft.
I think I can make this work.
Namen?
Well, can you make head or tail of it?
These are experiment records by the looks of it. Reams of them, dating back hundreds of years. Let's see. A composite being capable of controlling Dahnan astral energy so as to convert its molecular and elemental makeup. The creation of a governing central figure taking the form of a Dahnan. Codename Sovereign.
Sovereign.
Wait, there's more. Research into utilizing force field crystals for the purpose of stable astral energy containment. That must be the Master Cores. With all this raw data, there's bound to be records here somewhere about the Maiden and the Lords, too.
About the Lords? Why would they be on there?
Think about it. The Lord's crests are clearly of a piece with those of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. Not to mention the fact that the contenders to the crown are selected from otherwise regular Renan citizens. In other words, it may be that all Renans are unwittingly being made subject to some kind of grand scheme.
What about the Sovereign? Does it say anything else?
Where do I start? All I've read so far is the headlines. There's so much here. To sift through all of it would require specialized... Wait.
What is it? Did you find something?
It's a list of names, with the title, Test Subjects, Sovereign. It's your call.
Read it.
There must be dozens of test subjects listed here. Hundreds even. All of them failures. Wait, I think I've found one that was successful. Test subject number 1273. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Alphen.
They re-engineered me. Right here in this lab.
Alphen.
It's fine, really. What about the others? Was I the only one?
Test subject number 10105. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Volron.
Volron? But that means...
He's only sovereign because someone made him that way too.
He's the last one. In 3 centuries worth of records, you and Volron are the only 2 subjects on whom the experiment was a success.
But what about the winners of the crown contests? Does this mean that none of them were ever crowned sovereign after all?
Upon victory, the sovereign shall return to Rena and rule over Rena and Lenegis combined. When a new sovereign is decided, the outgoing monarch shall relinquish their post and live out the rest of their days on Rena. So we were told. But according to these records, there have only ever been 2 sovereigns, neither of whom had anything to do with the crown contest. It's all lies, including the part about the sovereign residing in Rena. The crown contest was never about deciding a new ruler. It must always have been devised for some other purpose.
Ja, Energie für die Experimente
But even
zu
supposing
sammeln.
that's true,
Wahrscheinlich.
someone must have been in charge for the past 3 centuries, right? If it wasn't the sovereign, then who was it?
Crown contests have been held this whole time, in spite of the fact that there was already a sovereign. Me. Meaning that for the past 300 years, someone out there has to have been maintaining that lie. The same person I'm willing to bet is behind all this.
The Red Woman?
It's possible. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's the mastermind behind this scheme. She could be working for someone else. Someone back on the Renan homeworld.
Either way, it's fair to say she's definitely involved somehow.
What about the data records? Is there no other information that could help us?
Not that I can see. Just file upon file of experiment results. There's nothing here about who's behind all this, or what their endgame is, unfortunately. I've barely managed to scratch the surface, mind you. You won't be able to read through it all, but you're welcome to take a look through what you can, while we're here.
I'll do that.
Okay.
So this is where Alphen became the sovereign, and Volron as well. The significance of this location would suggest...
Hey, it looks like the terminals in here turned on too.
We should look through them. They might contain valuable information.
Wähle ein Thema. Der Herrscher. Der Herrscher fungiert als Lenegis zentrale Steuerungseinheit für die Geisterbeschwörung. Jeder hat eine Stufe 2 Autorität und ein Wappen. Genetisches Zielobjekt dient als Basis seiner Erschaffung. Ideale Kandidaten haben eine gleiche Affinität zu jedem Astralelement. Diese Eigenschaften sind unter den Bedingungen der echten Welt statisch, jedoch selten vorzufinden. Folgedessen sterben die meisten Zielobjekte während der Angleichungsphase und selbst bei den Überlebenden ist keine Stabilität garantiert. Diese Instabilität kann in Verbindung mit der Macht zur Astralmanipulation des Herrschers ein großes Sicherheitsrisiko für Lenegis darstellen. Wenn der Herrscher in der Geisterbeschwörungszeremonie eingesetzt wird, ist ein Unterstützungsmechanismus zur Stabilisierung erfolgreich. Zusatz 1 wurden keine effektiven alternativen Methoden zur Zeremonie gefunden. Tests an dänischen Zielen dürfen fortgesetzt werden. Zusatz 2. Einheit 2 Angleichungen waren erfolgreich. Weitere Angleichungen werden während der Beobachtung ausgesetzt. Jungfer fungiert als Unterstützungsmechanismus für die Geisterbeschwörung. Jede Jungfer hat eine Stufe 2 Autorität und ein Wappen. Ein renetisches Zielobjekt stellt dem Herrscher das ergänzende dunkle Astral zusammen mit dem Renas Alma zur Verfügung. Moment, ein renetisches Zielobjekt stellt dem Herrscher das ergänzende dunkle Astral zusammen mit dem Renas Alma zur Verfügung. Während der Zeremonie kümmert es sich teilweise um die Astralenergieumwandlung sowie um die Stabilität der eigenen Macht des Herrschers. Wurde ferner beobachtet, dass das Maß an Intimität zwischen ihm und dem Herrscher positive Auswirkungen auf die Stabilität der Zielobjekte hat. Aus diesem Grund sind Testaktivierungen des Herrschers in Abwesenheit der Jungfer ausdrücklich verboten. Außerdem sind weder der Herrscher noch die Jungfer über die Einzelheiten der Geisterbeschwörung in Kenntnis zu setzen. Zusatz 1, die mentale Instabilität der Jungfer gilt als Ursache für die Untriebe des letzten Herrschers. Gegenmaßnahmen sind zu erwägen. Die mentale Instabilität der Jungfer gilt als Ursache für die Untriebe des letzten Herrschers. Gegenmaßnahmen sind zu erwägen. Gemäß den Plananpassungen wird die Jungfer-Registrierung des jetzigen Zielobjekts widerrufen und sie kehrt zu ihrer Familie zurück. Wie viele Terminals sind das? Drei Stück. Okay. Weil wenn ich auf die Uhr gucke, oi oi oi. Bei jedem Kampf um die Krone werden 5 der fähigsten renäischen Bürger als Lords auserwählt und treten an, der Herrscher zu werden. Während ihrer Herrschaft wird in Stufe 3 Autorität sowie 1 von 5 Elementarreichen mitsamt des entsprechenden Meisterkerns verliehen. Sie erhalten außerdem ein Wappen, das ihr jeweiliges Element ausweist. Die Auswahl berücksichtigt nur die Astralkünste sowie körperliche und geistige Eigenschaften. Andere Faktoren wie Alter haben keinen Einfluss. Da nur die stärksten Renäer-Lords werden, verleiht der Titel einem Lord keine zusätzliche Kraft. Es ist jedoch zu beachten, dass Lords nicht die einzigen sind, die einen Meisterkern seine Macht entlocken können. Alle Renäer müssen am Auswahlvorgang teilnehmen, um die Annahme des Titels ist Pflicht. Geeignete Ritter dürfen darauf nicht verzichten. Falls ein amtierender Lord nicht mehr in seiner Rolle dienen kann, muss schnell ein Ersatz gefunden werden. Dies ist ein Bericht zum zweiten erfolgreichen Experiment an einem Herrscher-Testobjekt. Testobjekt 10105, Name, Wollran, Generationen und so weiter. Das Zielobjekt weist ein hohes latentes Potenzial auf, zeigt jedoch Merkmale mentaler Instabilität sowie eine starke Abneigung, Befehle zu befolgen. Die Risiken, die es darstellt, übertreffen sogar die des letzten erfolgreichen Zielobjekts, das selbst scheiterte. Seine Beseitigung wird erwogen. Zusatz: Dies ist der erste erfolgreiche Fall in 300 Jahren. Die zuvor genannten Risiken wurden dank Kontrollpunkten inzwischen minimiert. Zielobjekt wird unter Annahme beobachtet, dass Plan 2 umgesetzt wird und in Dahna unter der Tarnung eines Lords eingesetzt. Zielobjekt wird unter der Annahme beobachtet, dass Plan 2 umgesetzt wird und in Dahna unter der Tarnung des Lords eingesetzt. Okay. Meisterkerne sind Machtinstrumente und erhalten Astralenergie, die zu einem der 6 Elemente gehört. 5 dieser Meisterkerne für Erde, Wasser, Feuer, Wind und Licht sind beim Kampf um die Krone jederzeit an renäische Lords entliehen. Nur der dunkle Meisterkern verbleibt unter strengster Geheimhaltung in der verbotenen Zone, bis das Renas Alma bereit zur Reformation ist. Unter dem runden äußeren Ring des Meisterkerns befindet sich ein Kraftfeldkristall zur Verwahrung der Astralenergie und Stabilität. Die Astralenergie wird im Inneren des Kraftfelds in einem inaktiven Zustand verwahrt. Die Astralenergie während ihrer Herrschaft treten alle Lords im Kampf um die Krone an, um ihre jeweilige Art von Astralenergie anzusammeln. In Notlagen darf jeder Lord wie erforderlich Astralenergie von seinem jeweiligen Vorrat entziehen. Die zulässige Menge hängt jedoch von seiner individuellen Stärke ab. Zusatz 1: Es wurden Designfehler bei der Art und Weise entdeckt, wie sich das Renas Alma materialisiert. Aktive Meisterkerne können mit anderen Meisterkernen in der Nähe Resonanzen bilden und dadurch instabil werden. Nach der erfolgreichen Regeneration des Renas Alma werden die Meisterkerne nicht mehr genutzt und der Kampf um die Krone wird beendet. Geistkerne sind Endstellen für die Ansammlung von Astralenergie. Wenn sie in ein biologisches Zielobjekt eingelassen sind, errichten sie Verbindungen durch seinen ganzen Körper. Durch diese Verbindungen wird Astralenergie aus körperlicher Aktivität gesammelt und schließlich vom Wirtkörper selbst ausgestoßen. Ja, das wussten wir ja schon. Weil sich diese ausgestoßene Energie rasch verflüchtigt, muss der Wirt in Reichweite eines Geistgefäßes sein, das die Energie sammelt. Bedeutet, dass da näher zur Ernte der Astralenergie im Rahmen des Kampfes um die Krone einzusetzen sind. Und der schwierigen Herstellung ist es ratsam, dass die Geisterkerne nach dem Tod des Wirts aus seinem Körper zurückgewonnen werden. Geisterkörner können auch in Säule eingelassen werden, um sie durch Astralartes zu steuern. Zusatz: Erhöhte körperliche Belastung eines Wirtskörpers erzeugt tendenziell mehr ausgestoßene Astralenergie. Die endgültige Bestätigung der idealen Belastung von Wirtskörpern zur idealen Astralenergieausbeute ohne zum Tode zu führen steht noch aus. Ja, das war im Prinzip ja mehr oder weniger eine Zusammenfassung von Sachen, die wir eigentlich schon wussten. Wenn man so will. War jetzt nicht viel Neues dabei. Ah, das ist der Raum, in dem der Typ stand. In dieser einen Erinnerungssequenz. Oh, Moment, da war was.
Naori,
Don't talk. I have to do this. I gave you my word that I'd help you return to Dahna. The next time you open your eyes, you'll be home.
But you...
My place is here with my people. I still have a duty to fulfill. I'm sorry for what you've endured. Rena never should have dragged you into this. It's not your burden to bear.
But...
The mask contains a sedative. It should keep your mind from tearing itself apart any further. Let yourself go to sleep. This should help with the pain. Time to go, Alphen. Farewell.
Gute Reise haben sie nicht übersetzt.
His injuries are worse than I thought. Short-term treatment isn't going to cut it. I'll have to switch the healing pod to long-term hibernation mode. The chance of surviving hibernation's less than 10%? And worse, long-term use of the mask carries a high risk of damaging his mind and nervous system.
Haben wir aber Glück gehabt.
If I don't head back, Lenegis will be nothing but ashes, and this starship along with it. I don't know if I can fulfill my promise to you, Alphen. But if doing this will grant you even the slightest chance, I have to try. I hope it's enough. Please, live for me, Alphen.
That vision. It must have been from when Naori helped Alphen escape Lenegis.
She sure went above and beyond the call of duty.
Even with Lenegis crumbling down around her, she chose to stay put with her people.
So that's why you lost your memories and sense of pain, and why you were asleep for that whole time. It was all the result of one agonizing decision Naori made to save your life.
Yeah. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't even be alive today. I owe her everything. More than I could ever hope to repay.
Now that you know how she felt, how do you plan on honoring her wishes?
She kept her promise. If the Renan people she fought so desperately to protect are at risk from a malevolent force, then I owe it to her to carry on her fight. Naori was the one who put that mask on me, and made me Iron Mask.
She did it to prevent your soul from tearing itself apart. She knew you might lose your memories and sense of pain as a result. But more than anything, she wanted you to survive. And you did.
Only 2 sovereigns in over 300 years. So why has the experiment only succeeded twice in all this time? And if that's the case, why keep on doing it? Was there really no other way? Or could there be some other reason?
Dohalim.
Forgive me.
Alphen.
I'm fine. I'm just a little shaken, that's all. I knew what I was already, so it's not like it's a surprise or anything. But it's strange. I've got all this rage inside of me, but I don't even know who it's for. I'm scared that I'll put a face to it, just to have someone to blame.
If that were to happen, then No. Then we'd help you fight it, before you ever got that far. Wouldn't we, everyone?
Yeah, we wouldn't just sit by and watch you spiral out of control.
That's right. No good can come from being consumed by hatred.
If you ever start to lose your way, you can count on us to guide you back. To remind you where home is.
And I would be happy to lend an attentive ear, should you ever have need.
Thank you, everyone. I think I'll be okay now.
Ich bin mal ganz kurz für kleine Nerds. Ich bin gleich wieder da. Ich muss schon seit einer Stunde oder so. Bis gleich. So, anwesend.
For the people of Lenegis, the Forbidden Zone is the stuff of dreams. Yet here I am, standing within its hallowed halls.
It's off limits even for lords, then? Talk about an exclusive club.
Being exclusive is one thing, but how many important facilities let in only the Sovereign? Doesn't that seem a little strange?
Strange doesn't cover it. If it was only one room, maybe. But a place on this scale? How do they keep it from falling into ruin? Whoever the Sovereign is, they can't manage the upkeep of this whole place themselves.
Did no one ever talk about it when you were growing up?
No, not that I can remember. Then again, Sovereigns and Forbidden Zones weren't exactly breakfast table conversations.
The Forbidden Zone is a hallowed place, at one with the Sovereign's authority. Grounds of the one true ruler who presides over all Renans. That is what we believed this place to be. No, what we were made to believe it was. But now, it is finally time to discover this area's true purpose, and why it was kept hidden behind the scenes for so long.
True. Okay. Sieht so aus, als wolle mir das Spiel noch ein paar Items geben, bevor der große Kampf kommt. Oder auch nicht. Das ist der Raum.
This place. We've seen this in one of Naori's memories.
Of course. After 300 years, this is where it was held. The spirit channeling ceremony. This is where the Renis Alma was.
So this is the place where you and Naori...
The Renis Alma isn't here now. Nor is the Red Woman, it seems.
I know it's difficult, Alphen, but there will be time to dwell on the past later. For now, we need to keep moving. Come on.
Naori?
What is this? Is it the work of Dahna's will again?
It's been a year since the ceremony. That day, I shut away inside of myself the power that caused Alphen to lose control. Since then, my visions of the future have grown more and more fearsome.
Is this another memory? No, it's different this time. It's like she's speaking directly to us.
What we did back then. Not so much as a day passes when I don't think about it. About what was done to us. All in the name of a ceremony. The purpose of which we were never even told. As Sovereign, they linked Alphen's consciousness to Lenegis itself. The Renis Alma was intended to control his power, lest anything should slip through its cracks. That day, as Maiden, my role was to temper his power. I was meant to guide it forth, and give shape to the strength inside of him.
Linked to Lenegis itself? But then, everything that's been happening...
But that power showed me a vision. A vision of oblivion. When I realized that vision was a prophecy of the apocalypse we were about to unleash, I couldn't go through with it. But without a maiden, the ceremony was doomed. Alphen lashed out, his consciousness no longer his own. I did what I could. Using my abilities as the maiden, I tried to seal that power away inside of me. But it was too late. Lenegis had already been brought to its knees. Thousands upon thousands of lives so cruelly snuffed out. All because of me. Because of what I had done. With the destructive force now slumbering inside of me, I knew I had to find a way to dispose of it. Anything to make up for my failure. But I didn't know how. Especially since that power was astral energy itself. In which case, ironically enough, the Renis Alma seemed to be my best bet. That, at least, would hold the astral energy dormant. Assuming that no malevolent third party got to it first. With the Sovereign and Maiden's combined power, perhaps I could shift the chaotic energy inside me into the Renis Alma instead. That's what I hoped, but alas, it was not to be. The Renis Alma was lost, and Alphen, the Sovereign, was in a starship bound for Dahna. My only choice was to seal away the destructive force inside of me using my powers as the Maiden, to buy the world what little time I could. The time needed for a new Renis Alma to be crafted.
and for a new sovereign to appear. Even if by doing so, it meant I would be passing the curse on to my descendants as well.
Oh.
Please, forgive me. I never meant to burden the future world with this threat too. I only wish that there was something more I could have done.
Wait, you can't just... Naori.
That message just now, was it directly from Naori? Or was it the Dahnan voice speaking through her?
What?
These are the clothes that Naori and I wore during the ceremony 3 centuries ago.
So you're saying this is the maiden's outfit?
That's right. These clothes are designed to resonate with the Sovereign and Maiden's abilities. They focus and enhance them.
And they appeared now because...
Naori must have left them here for the new Sovereign and Maiden, knowing the day would come when they would need them in their fight against the Thorns.
These outfits are directly linked to the answers we've been chasing this whole time. If they're here, it must mean it was Naori's will for us to find those answers as well.
Locating the Renis Alma would allow us to neutralize the dark astral energy inside Shionne, thereby silencing her thorns. Is that what Naori's suggesting?
It makes sense. After all, Master Cores and Spirit Vessels are both able to prevent the astral energy inside them from developing sentience. By that logic, it would stand to reason that the Renis Alma would have the same ability on a larger scale.
We have a Maiden and Sovereign. Now all we need is the Renis Alma, and we'll finally be able to free you of your thorns. Shionne.
It's possible? You really think so?
I do. We can rid you of your thorns and stop the world from falling to oblivion.
However, the spirit channeling ceremony already failed once. Even if our goal is different this time, we can't be sure the same thing won't happen again. We should take care not to be too optimistic.
You're right. It's the barest sliver of a chance. But if there's even the slightest hope it can work, I'm willing to stake everything I've got on it.
I know it's too early to let myself feel relieved, but I just can't seem to help it. Just hearing there's the slightest chance, even though I know the world's still in great peril. It's selfish of me, I know, but still.
No, it isn't. You found hope to believe in. It'd be strange if you weren't over the moon about it.
Rinwell's right. We can rid you of your curse and still save the world at the same time.
Thank you. Naori entrusted us with the fate of all humanity. Now, it's up to us to prove that trust was well placed.
Starting with a little game called Hunt the Renis Alma.
Yeah, we've come all this way. Now we just need to search Lenegis and Rena until we find it.
Yeah, we can protect the world and save Shionne at the same time.
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of Renan lore is bound to be a useful asset.
And they say modesty is dead.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
How do you know it's me they're following? We're all in this together, Shionne. You included. Now let's get moving, shall we? Last I heard, we had an apocalypse to stop.
True.
Thank you, Naori. So Naori sealed away the power that made me lose control of myself. She stopped my rampage and saved my life. But then, that power she'd sealed away was passed down to you. I'm so sorry, Shionne. It's my fault that you're cursed.
You're wrong. What happened to you was because of the ceremony and Naori's attempt to stop Oblivion. You paid a heavy price for it, and then fell asleep for 300 years. The reason you lost your memories
is the reason for your curse.
The thorns.
It all leads back to them. But once they're gone, we can finally put an end to all this.
When my thorns are gone, I never dared to dream that such a thing could be possible. No, the truth is, I think maybe I've always been dreaming about a life without my thorns. The touch of my family, or playing with my friends, holding hands with Rinwell, or giving Law a deserved smack, embracing everyone. All the normal things that people do together. I always wished I could experience them for myself, and finally know what they were like. Is it really okay for me to believe it can happen? I'm so scared of getting my hopes up. What if it doesn't work out in the end, and...
That's not going to happen. I'm here to make sure it won't. Forget fate or destiny or anything else. We're going to live a normal life. There are a lot of things you still want to do, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's such a strange feeling. I know that we've still got plenty of fighting up ahead. And it's for my sake. So I can live.
You're worth fighting for.
I believe you, Alphen.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. For as long as it takes. Until our future is finally in our hands.
Die letzte Jungfer. Okay. Oh. Okay. Ah. Ja. Ah. Theoretisch müsste der Skin von dem Schwert, das ich eben bekommen habe, auch dabei sein, ne? Ja, okay. Bei ihr ja theoretisch genauso. Die Edelrose vom Anfang passt auch dazu. Wie heißt denn die Waffe, die sie im Moment in der Dings hat? Angriffsschuss. Ah, okay. Das vom Anfang? Das ist vom Anfang. Ich will mal aus sie umspringen. Sieht schon echt cool aus. Der Sockel, auf dem er vor 300 Jahren stand, jetzt verströmt, keine Spur von Macht. Okay. Dann speichern wir jetzt mal ein Ründchen. Ich glaube nicht irgendwie... Ich habe das Gefühl, dass uns hier kein großer Kampf mehr erwartet. Ehrlich gesagt. Ich weiß nicht warum.
Sounds like this Naori chick had quite the big heart.
Her position demanded nothing less. From the sound of things, she didn't focus on differences, least of all those between Renans and Dahnans.
Yeah. It was Naori who first showed me that such a thing was even possible. And then she saved my life by sending me back home to Dahna.
Not only that, but she willingly stayed behind on Lenegis for the sake of her people. It sounds like she was quite the hero, all right. A truly caring person.
It's as if walls meant nothing to her. The ones separating the Renans from the Dahnans, or herself from others. She had no need for them.
Which basically meant that she never had anything to break down in the first place, huh? Yeah. I think you may be right about that.
You inherited that legacy. Her wish for the world.
Don't I know it?
She's kind of like a lodestar guiding our way, showing us what we can aspire to.
True.
That's quite some door, all right. This might finally be it. The heart of the beast.
We'll find the Renis Alma and the Red Woman inside, right?
After everything we've been through to get here, they damn well better be.
We'll probably be needing you to open this one for us, Sovereign.
Go for it, Alphen.
Was mit meinem HP-Pool? Und so?
This is it, guys. Time to see what secrets are in store.
We're a long way from the residential quarters now. It looks completely different.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, this place... it reminds me more of being back inside the wedge.
Except the Dahnan astral energy feels even stronger here.
In a portion of the city reserved purely for the Renan Sovereign.
Maybe he just has strange tastes?
This place looks like it has been here for quite some time now. If its design were a matter of personal preference, we would be talking from centuries ago. Or perhaps even further back. Still, this isn't the sort of decadence of taste spoken of in artistic circles. So what is it then?
Hold up, decadence? Artistic circles?
When a preference is indulged to its extreme, it descends into kitsch, eccentricity for the sake of it. I'd be happy to illuminate you further.
That depends. Does it involve you buying me lunch?
The void that art fills isn't the stomach, it's the soul.
In that case, I'll let you know the next time my soul starts to rumble.
Now all we need is something to fill up the void inside your head.
Shut up!
Der war gut. Oh yeah. Never mind, was ich gesagt habe.
Volron! He really was still alive.
And there's the Renis Alma. Then, is this another spirit channeling ceremony?
Wait though, something doesn't seem right here.
Oh, once more, the powers must be united. Born from the fires of chaos, the world does seek its rightful state. All must be sacrificed in the heart of Rena, at the shrine of the true sovereign.
What has happened to him? He's lost himself, reduced to a mere cog in a machine.
Hey look, over there!
Isn't that the Maiden's crest?
Can it be? That this entire chamber is meant to act as a substitute for the maiden?
It looks like it's still running, but are we already too late to stop the ceremony?
If that's what caused Lenegis' transformation, then the purpose of the ceremony must have been to drain all the astral energy out of Dahna.
But for what purpose? What could possibly need astral energy on that sort of scale?
I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll bet it's connected to those visions of oblivion. Regardless, we cannot stand by and let them steal Dahna's energy. That said, we should retrieve the Renaissance. Because right now, we need that most of all.
He's not gonna lunge at us out of nowhere, right?
Not the time, Law.
Alphen, look!
The Red Woman! So we finally found you. I have a lot of questions for you.
Wait!
What?
They all have the same face? How is that even possible? What is this?
Who the hell are they?
It can't be. Are they even people?
It's hard to know for sure, but I think they're the true rulers of Rena.
They're not feeling particularly talkative.
It's no use, Alphen. If we don't fight, we may as well be sitting ducks here.
Good point.
280.000. What?
In a bind?
Holy land! A chain between heaven and earth.
Keine Schwächen.
Can't move!
I couldn't make it in time.
Chain between heaven and earth.
He who prepares is free from regret.
A whirling
Beyond, imbue this vanquished
winds
soul
of
with
heaven.
life.
Burst forth.
From beyond, imbue this
Glacial
vanquished
spear.
Aber es sind immerhin 3, die sich den HP-Pool teilen. Alter. Alter.
Dance on the wind.
Megasonic thrust!
Sleep now.
You're mine!
Need to pull myself together.
Everlasting darkness.
Vanish without a trace.
Here I go!
Heal my weary.
Oh, magic is not in your dreams.
It's on!
A
Here I
whirling
come!
struggle.
Move it!
Hear me, flame
Wind
of heaven.
Burn it out!
Burning struggle. Glacial spear.
You require a hand.
Dance in the
Now you
wind.
see what I can do!
Here I come!
Hurricane!
Take this! Burn!
First aid.
Ich habe irgendwie den Eindruck, dass
Oh,
die,
violent darting wind. Cutting down through all crossblade.
dass die zwei besonders blitzanfällig sind oder so. Oh fuck, falsche Taste.
Sleep now. First aid. More for the stockpile.
Ups. Jetzt.
Lunar blast.
First strike!
Where are you going?
Raging storm.
Will this help?
Alter. Wieso kann ich noch nicht mal an die ran?
The healing raging cascade.
I owe you one. The flame inside me, yours!
By the power of water.
Take this!
Mega
Here's a healing first!
Eat dirt!
Ready!
No escape!
Armor won't save you!
Leave the chargers to me!
Lunar corruption! Divine
Here, let
save!
me have
Whirling purple! Here's a healing arc! Wings of heaven!
I
Burning force!
really owe you one.
Far enough!
Hear me! Flame of fury!
Take this!
I'll be saving this one!
For the
Not on
flame
my
inside
watch.
me, yours to be let free! Not today!
Illuminate the dark!
Megasonic thrust!
Glimmer dragon! Can't be
What the fuck?
where that came from! I'll heal you all!
Oh, da hätte ich nicht reinlaufen dürfen. Das war ziemlich dumm.
Bring you down, a whirling struggle.
Lost my focus!
Megasonic
Winds of heaven, turn forth. Now, radiant rush
you!
Here.
Prepare to be sealed!
Will this help me?
You're mine! Double demon fang!
Here's a healing arc.
Can't get out of this!
Ready to go.
You picked the wrong fight!
Lightning and
Sword Rain Alpha! Double demon fang!
Illuminate the dark.
I won't give up!
You!
Oh mein Gott, ey.
Stay away from my friends!
Denied!
Oh, okay. Ich hab gerade irgendwas unterbrochen. Ich weiß nur nicht was.
Ready to go. Purge malevolence. Arcade water. Here's a healing arc. First aid. Thunder field. Radiant here.
I'll tear you apart!
Megasonic thrust!
Okay, Schwäche auf was war das eben?
Prepare to be sealed!
Almost! Megasonic thrust!
It can't be happening.
Stay away from my friends!
Friend, dance in the wind.
Not today!
Sleep now.
Eat this! Take this!
I'll be saving this one.
Pierce!
Illuminate the dark.
Nothing gets by me!
Now for something special.
Denied!
A chain between heaven and earth.
You're mine!
A wailing
No
dancing
escape.
lightning. Unsealed.
Na komm!
Megasonic thrust!
Malevolence. Arcade, not in your dreams.
Pierce! Take this! I'm not...
Gale force.
Shionne ist schon wieder tot. Kann die sich nicht mal selbst heilen?
I'm not sure how we get out of this one.
You mean
I owe you one.
this might be the end?
No, never. Stay strong.
Here, let me help. Holy Land. Chain between heaven and earth. A wailing dancing lightning.
You picked the wrong fight!
Shionne könnte mal einen Heilkreis casten, das wäre super.
No further!
Also, ich würde mal sagen.
My reach is even wider!
Au.
I never miss.
Regenerate!
Another incantation brewing! Can't move!
Alter, ich bin so dämlich.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss. Purge malevolence.
Das gibt's doch gar nicht.
Freeze Lancer.
Komm ich zurück!
I'll smash you!
Glacial spear. Pierce evil. Thirst.
No
Freeze Lancer.
Shine! Radiant light! Force of regeneration!
You're mine. Illuminate the dark. Come forth. Holy glimmer. Holy
This is some punishment.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
Ignite!
I can't heal you forever.
Sword Rain Alpha!
Lightning healing
Try
arc.
harder! Now!
Lightning
Take this!
brigade. Thunder
No
blade.
escape!
Chain between heaven and earth. Sight. A wailing dancing radiant light. Seal.
Megasonic
Do it.
thrust!
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
Here, let me help. Water astral energy. First aid.
Jetzt bin ich mal gespannt.
Surrender! Fighting is useless now!
Do you think it's really over?
Astral energy. Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve.
What?
It's self-destructed?
Alphen!
I'm okay. Just a little roughed up.
You had me worried there.
Who said you could touch that?
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much. So you know this place? Naturally. It was built for me, after all. We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm going to tear you apart. Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me? You cut me down. Sovereign or not, you will pay for that.
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all his time chasing Alphen, who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle prattle. I proved my worth and the Sovereign's powers were granted to me.
Were they really? We already know the title of Sovereign doesn't denote royalty. It is but an overblown codename for those with a designated part to play in these proceedings. You mentioned before that you were not the only one stolen from Dahna, correct?
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
All of those failed experiments, and they still kept going back to Dahna. There must have been some vital reason their subject had to specifically be a Dahnan. Then there were the records we found in the library, for you and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Then you mean Volron was kidnapped just like Alphen? But then he became a
slave from Dahna. Just like us. Isn't that right, Volron?
So he posed as a Renan and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a slave, why would you inflict that upon others?
Renan and Dahna are meaningless distinctions. Me and everyone else. That is all that matters. I will stand above all others and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
A red woman?
Another one?
Give your master back on Rena this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Jetzt bringen sie ihn um, ha?
Don't do it!
Rena's Alma!
It's too late. We can't stay here.
We need to go. Alphen!
Plot twist. Ist nicht dein Ernst.
Go. But know I will be your shadow no matter where you try to run.
Let's go.
Never forget, I am the one who devours everything. Who answers to neither spirit nor man. My word is law. I am...
Are you two okay?
Yeah. We'll be fine.
Is Volron... have we finally seen the last of him?
We can but hope.
Those red women. What the heck was their deal?
Could they be the ones behind all this? The same ones who put those soldiers in Faria in a trance?
Das sind Werkzeuge,
What, those
100%.
brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Rena Alma. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now, those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off at Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Volron mentioned a master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah. There's a good chance it's not human. That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
They have the Rena Alma in their grasp already, so it's unlikely they'll have cause to return to Dahna. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Volron to actually be here.
He seemed to care not one whit about Renans or Dahnans.
Yeah, not in a good way like with us.
Oh Mann.
I didn't see that coming about Volron. As for those red women, to think they were monsters all along.
Tell me about it. One minute they look perfectly human. Next thing you know, they're not actually human at all.
They definitely weren't Renan or Dahnan. I'm not even sure language would get through to them.
So what were they then? Human Zoogle hybrids?
Is the most terrifying thing anyone said all day?
How about you, Shionne? Dohalim? You ever seen anything like that before?
No, never. However, if they're the same as the red woman we've seen with Volron, I think it's safe for us to assume they understand our language at the very least.
I had just so much I wanted to ask them. About Rena, and Shionne's thorns.
Unfortunately, they blew themselves up before we got the chance. Why would they do such a thing, though? To take us with them?
Nee.
Or in order to keep something hidden?
Ja.
Both sound plausible to my ears. They took off with the Rena Alma too, remember?
Yeah, they did. And the next time we meet them, we're going to make sure they tell us everything they know.
Okay, wir haben ja unterwegs nix. Nix Besonderes mehr. Glaube ich, wo wir hin müssen. Theoretisch könnte ich schnell reisen, aber ich glaube, ich will einfach nur mal hier durchlaufen, weil es so lange gedauert hat, bis ich hier hingekommen bin. Einfach nur, um das noch für einen Moment zu sehen. In den letzten 3 Stunden ungefähr hat sich hier einiges getan. Und wir haben viele Antworten gekriegt. Aber ich bin immer noch ganz schön verwirrt. Wenn man das so sagen will. Und ich finde das Outfit von Shionne cool. Ich muss das, glaube ich, erstmal ein bisschen sacken lassen. Ich frage mich, wenn wir jetzt hier zurückgehen, wo ich mich dann wieder durch die ganzen Dinge durchkämpfen müsste. Wahrscheinlich, oder? Die Gegner wieder da. Okay.
This one's mine.
Is it too late to talk over our differences?
Ich glaube,
Let me help. Between heaven and earth.
Can't get out of
A
this!
wailing beauty of lightning.
Take this!
Divine.
Down on the ground!
Feel now by the power of astral energy. Full throttle. Arch seal.
Here I come! Does it hurt? Seismic rupture!
Illuminate the number.
Scoop back! Stand back! I'll trip it up!
No escape!
Shine! Force of regeneration! Regenerate!
Do it.
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Oh, violent darting wind.
Now!
hat es ja nicht gekillt?
Take this! Still
Nice.
Looks like we got them all.
Mal, wo muss ich nochmal lang? Da oben. Okay, ich guck nochmal, ob da hinten noch Zeug ist. Weil das kann ich vielleicht zum
That enemy looks strong. I bet it'll be worth our while to fight it.
Waffen bauen gebrauchen. Who knows?
This one will be difficult to predict.
Und das war bisher die einzige Stelle im Spiel, wo ich das gefunden habe. Also.
Far enough! Catapult! Prepare to be sealed! Down on the ground! Carve through armor! No further!
You're sorry, trouble.
Was? Ich hab doch die Tastenkombination gedrückt, willst du mich verarschen? Noch während er in der Animation war. Egal.
In here. I can't feel you forever.
Sword Rain Alpha! Here I come! Sword Rain, it's go time! I'm not done! Demon Fang!
Na komm. Tu mir einfach den Gefallen und stirb.
Nothing gets by me.
Lunar blast back into the fray.
Take this! We did it! Sword Rain, this one's all mine!
Annihilation. Radiant from here.
Prepare to be sealed!
Hydration ore. Dead by the radiant flame.
Burn it out!
A chain between heaven and earth.
Hab ihn, glaube ich, nicht getroffen, oder?
A wailing banshee of lightning. Explosion. Hear me.
Sword Rain Alpha! Double Demon Fang!
Na komm. Nice. Danke.
Say no more.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I've been doing really great lately.
Puh. Man muss dem Spiel ja mal lassen, es gibt so ein paar Story-Wendungen, die sieht man schon irgendwie kommen, wie das mit Shionne und der Astralenergie in ihr und so. Das habe ich irgendwie kommen sehen, aber es gibt so ein paar andere. Nee, danke, jetzt nicht. Sorry, Bro.
Right, here goes!
That'll bring you down.
Here I come!
Between heaven and earth. Lunar
Es gibt halt so ein paar Story-Wendungen in dem Spiel, die sieht man nicht kommen. Und was ich sagen muss, was ich im Gegensatz zu vielen Anime-Zeug, also sowohl Spiele als auch Serien und so echt gut finde, ist, dass halt dass keine Schwarz-Weiß-Malerei betrieben wird. Also es gibt nicht nur Gut und Böse, wie man an dem Beispiel von Moment. Wie man am Beispiel von Dohalim sieht, der bevor er Lord geworden ist, aus der Not heraus quasi einen guten Freund getötet hat. Und mich würde auch nicht wundern, wenn noch irgendwas rauskommt. 1000? Oh. Warte mal, Moment. Habe ich jetzt hier eine Flagge gesetzt? (2000, 1200, 1500, 1100, ja. Ungefähr gleich alles. (1100). Ich muss auch noch mal eigentlich zurück nach Dahna, um diese Level 40 Contests zu machen und so. Was eigentlich tatsächlich auch nicht unerheblich wichtig ist, weil dadurch ja hier so ein weiteres Skill-Dingens freigeschaltet wird. Ups. Das würde ich dann wahrscheinlich demnächst bei Gelegenheit mal angehen. Was soll ich eigentlich als nächstes machen? Die ganzen Tests bis Level 40 durchgehen.
What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone?
Doe?
You two.
Faria, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
She doesn't remember a thing. So she really was being controlled.
He told me about Tarnigan, too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegis is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegis from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest ranking person in Lenegis right now?
Du.
Lenegis wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow Renans of Lenegis. It is I, Lord Dohalim Qaras of Eldaman and Sia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid. As people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lenegis, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among many.
Sagt er das gerade wirklich?
For if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Das hat er nicht wirklich gesagt gerade.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie, built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegis, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking.
Nice.
One in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like, oh, I don't know, musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Turnagain's death. To see a future.
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegis till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Elda can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegis who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world. Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my heart.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits.
Okay.
Looks like the people of Lenegis can rest easy.
I couldn't have done it without your words of encouragement, Law.
Hey, you're the one who made the speech.
I think everybody can share the credit here.
Jo, genau, das war gerade mein erster Gedanke. Wir müssen nämlich jetzt unbedingt mal...
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
Ja, die Range ist nicht so wichtig. Wir müssen kurz die Waffen durchchecken. Sehr gut. Und dann Objekte kaufen war richtig. Korrekt. Okay, das passt alles.
Have you guys checked your...
Nein, kein Koch.
Equipment lately?
So, und da dieser wunderschöne Stream schon 3 Stunden und 27 Minuten geht, aber er das komplette Ding von A bis Z, die ganze, also nicht die ganze Auflösung, aber ein Großteil der Auflösung beinhaltet, würde ich sagen, gucken wir uns jetzt noch...
In one sense, when all is said and done, perhaps I have been a slave this whole time too.
You, a Renan lord? How do you figure that exactly?
I was complicit in the Renan system, bound by its values, resigned to being swept along, without the resolve to take a stand. And when I realized the severity of my mistake, all I longed for was punishment. A lord. And yet my first instinct was to place my fate in the hands of others.
I think I can relate. I couldn't stand watching my people bow and scrape their way through life, but I didn't know what else I could do about it either. The ability to think for yourself and be your own master. That's what separates a slave from a free person. At least, that's what Law's dad Zephyr used to say. Zephyr taught me how to fight. But in doing so, he also taught me how to live.
Even if it means stumbling along the way. If it's on a road of our own choosing, free of regret. Why, that's the road of freedom. Or, to put it another way, so long as his heart is compromised, even the loftiest of kings is no freer than a slave. I think I finally understand now. This Zephyr character sounds like he was a wise man indeed. I only wish I could have met him.
There's just so much I wish I could ask him, especially now. I wonder, have I been correctly carrying on the torch that he passed to me?
Okay. Gibt's wohl noch ein bisschen
How long
Info.
have you known?
Known what?
About the darkness I carry inside me. You seem to have been aware of it for quite some time now.
Why ask me now? What does it matter? But
Das ist Mutti, die weiß
yes,
alles.
I have. I've pretty much known that something was gnawing at you ever since we left Menancia.
So basically since the very start of our journey then. Just when I thought I couldn't feel more ashamed.
Mami
Leave
weiß
the
alles.
past where it belongs. We have no need for it now. You're forging ahead. That's what matters. If my brother could see you, he'd be proud.
Not as proud as he would be of his sister, I'm sure.
Well,
wenn noch am Leben
just
wäre.
as well it's not a competition, huh?
Oh, noch mehr.
Kisara? Anyone at home in there?
Sorry. Did I look distracted?
Among other things. To be entirely honest, I couldn't tell whether you were smiling or frowning.
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
That obvious, huh?
Ja, es
I
ist
was just
Mutti.
thinking how good it is to see him moving forward at last. It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just put his mind to it. A prisoner trapped in a cage of his own self-doubt. But now, he's finally beginning to spread his wings. I'm happy for him.
So, then why do you look so sad?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It's good and strange, knowing that he won't be needing me anymore. It probably sounds weird, doesn't it? I have this
Wenn die Kinder
massive
das
worry
Zuhause
off my mind.
verlassen.
I should be jumping up and down for joy, right?
Must be that maternal instinct of yours at work.
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child takes his first shaking and nervous flight from the nest.
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it. I wouldn't like to see Dohalim's face if he heard you say that. All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a prisoner of my own making like he was. If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too. I won't be left behind.
Okay, das war's. Sehr gut. Ich muss einen würdigen Titel für diese Folge finden. Da muss ich echt drüber nachdenken. Und ich muss mich um den für diesen Stream. Ne? Und ich muss für den vorherigen Stream muss ich mich auch noch drum kümmern, weil da war ja Musik drin, die garantiert das Copyright-System triggert. Ich danke euch allen fürs Zuschauen. Es waren heute, ich weiß gar nicht, 8 Stunden oder so. Und ich bin mal gespannt, wie lange das Game noch geht. 65 Stunden haben wir schon am Buckel. Mein lieber Scholli. Das Spiel geht wesentlich länger, als ich dachte. Also ein Story-Plot-Twist, dass das Spiel länger geht, habe ich vermutet, aber 2? Holy moly. Danke euch allen fürs Zuschauen. Wenn es euch gefallen hat, würde ich mich freuen, wenn ihr mir einen Daumen nach oben da lasst. Dann würde ich sagen, Dankeschön. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Achtet einfach auf die Benachrichtigung, wenn ich wieder streame. Und bis dahin, Ciao, Dankeschön und